Hey everybody! Do you find that it's difficult for you to fall asleep at night or stay asleep once you're in bed? I want to go over some really quick and easy tips today on sleep hygiene, and quality of sleep so that that first pillar of self-care is really standing upright. My most important part of what I teach is really self-care, and if sleep is out of whack, then everything else falls apart. We don't have the energy to exercise or eat right, and we can't do anything else when sleep is falling over. So let's take a look at this today. My name is Megan Gunnell. I'm the founder and director of the Thriving Well Institute, and self-care and mindfulness is a big part of what I teach to my clients, and it's part of my coaching and my retreats and everything I do. So let's dive right in. I'm going to give you some really quick and easy tips today to make sleep a better quality experience for you. Tip number one is, what are you doing 1 hour before bedtime? Most of us are looking at a screen, and that is actually inhibiting our ability to actually produce melatonin. So even if you're using that yellow glow light on your phone, or if you've got some sort of a filter on your iPad, it's still actually signaling your body to stay engaged and awake. So I always try to tell people, move your phone away from your bed and stop using it at least 30 minutes before you try to fall asleep. Patients will always tell me, and my clients will always tell me, oh, I'm actually reading on my iPad, or I'm reading on my laptop, and I'm using my phone to read articles. I'm not using it for videos, but it's really not any different than using your phone for something else that's really stimulating. So your body doesn't know the difference, and when you're engaged with using a screen, it's actually inhibiting your ability to rest and relax and produce melatonin and fall asleep. So producing melatonin is actually another big piece of what I teach people to watch out for. We need to make sure that your melatonin production is running high, and you can only do that if your room is really dark. About 6 months ago, my husband and I decided to get room darkening shades for our bedroom, and it made all the difference in the world, because if you don't have that and light is coming into your room, again, you're not able to produce melatonin. It used to take me about an hour to fall asleep at night because there was so much light filtering into my room. And now with these new sort of room darkening shades, it feels almost like a dark hotel where they really have that light blocked out for you. And that makes all the difference. I'm able to fall asleep within 5 to 10 minutes. Another thing that I always tell people is, when you get into bed, it's really easy for us to kind of revisit all the things that happened yesterday and all the things that are going to happen tomorrow. And it's difficult because we're hinging our thoughts onto things about, oh, I could have done that differently, or, oh, this is coming up tomorrow and I'm feeling really stressed about it, when really what we want to do is call our attention to the mindful now. And so that we can really invite ourselves to come into a space of falling asleep easily. And so I have a short little exercise that I always take people through to bring them back to a state of mindfulness. And it's really about touching into your senses. So I always invite people to say, okay, I'm not going to think about yesterday. I'm not going to think about tomorrow. I'm really going to pull myself into the mindful now. And I'm going to use my senses to help me get there. And so, for example, what are you seeing in your room as you're trying to fall asleep at night? Hopefully not a lot. If you have your room darkening shades, you'll have a nice dark room. It'll be easy for you to fall asleep, but there might be a little shadow on the wall that you notice, and you want to bring your attention and awareness to what's going on in the now. What am I hearing in my room? I might be hearing a white noise machine or a fan running, or I might be not hearing anything, which is just a nice way to open up our head, and so we're not having stimulation. What am I smelling? I might be smelling my fresh laundry that is on my pajamas, the scent of my laundry soap on my sheets or bedding, or I might be smelling something like an essential oil that I have in my room, or any other scents that are pleasing to you as you fall asleep. And finally, what am I feeling on my skin? Because touch is a really important part of our sensory inventory. And when we really assess that, we can kind of bring our awareness back to our body. And so we're feeling our bedding, we're feeling the texture and the softness of our pillow and our sheets, or maybe the heaviness of the blanket. And all of those things become part of a sensory inventory for us. So that's super important too. The other thing I always tell people is, when you wake up in the middle of the night, you start doing this terrible thing where you're doing all this bad math. You're looking at your clock, Hopefully you're not looking at your phone. I tell people don't flip your phone over, don't go to your phone. If you don't have a clock in your room and you're really desperate to know what time it is, then I invite you to get a clock that you can put kind of away from your head so that light isn't interfering with your ability to get good rest. But if you can tell yourself, I've been tired before and no one needs me right now, then sometimes that's just enough to unhook and allow yourself to come into a space of just resting so that you're not really getting into this bad math equation of, oh no, it's this time and now that means I only have this many hours left and what's going to happen tomorrow when I'm really tired and how will I cope? We don't have to worry about any of that right now because our invitation to come back to a quiet state of relaxation is all that we really need to focus on. So the whole I've been tired before and no one needs me is a nice way to unhook when you're in the middle of the night thinking, oh my gosh, it's 2 or 3 in the morning and I only have this many hours until I have to get up again in the morning. The final tip that I always tell people is to be aware of your caffeine and alcohol cycle. What are you doing with regards to caffeine and alcohol? Because our bodies are very sensitive and the circadian rhythm that we create is really influenced by, caffeine and alcohol. So we really want to watch what we're doing. We want to limit our caffeine to only the morning. We really want to cut off all caffeine use by 12 noon, which I know sounds crazy for some people that need that 3 p.m. pick-me-up, but it does interfere with your ability to fall asleep at night. Anything after 12 noon is not recommended. I would also recommend that we eliminate alcohol before we fall asleep at night, especially in the evening hours, because it definitely is not only a depressant, but it interferes with our ability to fall asleep and stay asleep. So I hope that these tips helped you. This is one of the most important things in my practice, is helping people understand the foundation of self-care and healthy living. And here's to you thriving.